From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the evening news blast for November 4th, 2025. The Advocate is reporting that Jim Obergefell warns people should be concerned about the U.S. Supreme Court considering a marriage equality case. When the 9 U.S. Supreme Court justices meet behind closed doors on Friday, the justices will decide whether to hear an appeal from former Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis, a name that became synonymous with anti-LGBTQ plus attitudes to marriage equality a decade ago. Davis, who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples after Obergefell v. Hodges made marriage equality the law of the land in 2015, has asked the court not only to overturn her financial settlement in a civil case, loss in lower courts, but also to reconsider the landmark ruling itself. While Davis's petition centers on whether she can be held personally liable for emotional distress damages, her legal team is also urging the justices to revisit the constitutional right to marry. For those who remember the culture war that surrounded Davis's defiance, the possibility that her name might appear again on the Supreme Court docket has reignited deep anxiety across the LGBTQ plus community. In separate interviews with the Advocate, Jim Obergefell, the plaintiff whose name now defines that right, and Glad Law legal director Josh Rovinger described the moment as both surreal and revealing. One is the man who stood before the court 10 years ago and won the right to have his marriage recognized. The other works at the organization that helped secure that victory. Both see the Davis petition not just as a legal maneuver, but as a test of whether the country can sustain a principle it once declared settled. Rovinger explained what this case is and what it isn't. This is a narrow case with a technical legal question, he said, emphasizing that it concerns emotional distress damages and qualified immunity, not marriage equality itself. Attorneys who want to overturn Obergefell are trying to shoehorn that into a very narrow case. Davis, a former Rowan County clerk in Kentucky, was found liable for denying marriage licenses to same-sex couples in violation of clearly established law. A jury awarded damages to those couples, and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed the decision. Davis's petition now asks the Supreme Court to review that ruling. Rovinger explained, while she has framed the case as one about her religious freedom, Rovinger said the issue before the court remains technical. The Supreme Court receives thousands of petitions a year, he said. It would really be anomalous for them to take a case with such a narrow fact pattern and use it to revisit Obergefell. Still, Rovinger acknowledged why people are uneasy. Given the rollback of rights we've seen in other areas, Dobbs being the most prominent, that fear makes sense, he said. But this case is not the vehicle for that kind of sweeping reversal. We're going to leave this story for now and have part two of the story during the lunch hour on PEP Radio. What can you do to help? Folks, donate to your local pride organization. Work with your local LGBTQ plus organization, whether as a paid employee or a volunteer. If you don't have one in your area, okay, join Pennsylvania Equality Project. We've been fighting to obtain and now to defend marriage equality in the Commonwealth since 2011. Reach out to us at info@paequality.com to join Pennsylvania Equality Project. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them. From the PEP Radio Newsroom, I'm David Moore reporting, and up next we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.